Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we're looking in Revelations chapter 14, and the more I study this chapter, look at this chapter, I get excited. Now, often through the years, as I've read through the Bible, I'll come to a chapter and I'll see certain things in it, and I'll write a title over that chapter. And I've, like chapters in the book of Psalms, I have one that's called the Me, I, My Psalm. Then I have one called the Oh Me Psalm, where somebody's just groaning over all their problems. Well, this chapter here, chapter 14 of Revelation, if I wrote a title over top of it, it would be Another Angel chapter, the other angel. Because as I was looking at it again, I noticed throughout this chapter, you saw in verse 6, at least 6 angels are seen in this chapter, and another angel in verse 6, in verse 8, and another angel followed, and then in verse 9, then the third angel followed them, and then in verse 13, he heard a voice from heaven, and that's another message. But he said, I looked, and there was one like the Son of Man. But then in verse 15, and another angel came out of the temple. And then in verse 17, then another angel came out of the temple. And then verse 18, and another angel. So I would call this chapter And Another Angel. Boy, isn't it wonderful? You know, I couldn't help but think of Jesus talking about little children. Don't you dare offend one of these little ones, for their angel beholds the face of their Father in heaven, waiting to protect and do what needs to be done to protect them. And I'm just convinced that even right now you have some angels surrounding you. You can't see them, but God has his angels, and they are everywhere. Heaven, of course, is full of angels giving glory to God and doing his bidding. And so here we see these 6 angels in heaven. Remember, John has been looking at the tribulation period, what has happened in the past, and already the first 3.5 years. It's a terrible time. Millions, even maybe up to 2 billion people have already been killed. Then we're getting ready to go in chapter 15. You'll notice chapter 15 starts, then I saw another sign in heaven. 7 angels, 7 more angels, having the 7 last plagues, for in them the wrath of God is complete. And these angels are going to have the 7 bowls of God's wrath that are going to be poured out in the last 3.5 years. And some people believe that'll be in the last weeks or the last days of that 3.5 years. And so we see and another angel. Now this first other angel that we see here is found in verse 6, and it says, then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth and the seas and springs of waters. Now this angel, his message is judgment is come. Judgment is come. Now you realize today angels are not privileged in this church age to preach the gospel. Even in the gospel book of Acts chapter 10, when Cornelius the centurion was under conviction about salvation, an angel showed up and couldn't tell him the gospel, but he said, you're going to have to go get a guy by the name of Peter, and he will come and tell you what you are looking for, the gospel of Jesus Christ. We have the responsibility today as human beings, as Christians, as followers of the Lamb, to share the good news of Jesus Christ, the gospel, with those around us. But here in the tribulation, this will be an angel that will proclaim the gospel to every tribe and kindred and tongue and nation. And then this message is now not the same gospel that we're preaching. It's a gospel that's reaching back to even Romans chapter 1 and those verses there that says creation itself proves that there is a God, so that they are without excuse and they suppress the truth in their unrighteousness. And so this is what some people call the natural gospel, the natural message of the gospel, because it's what creation is preaching, and this is what this angel is preaching, a return to Romans 1:18, natural theology. Well, my friend, these are exciting times right here in the middle of tribulation. These are exciting times in which we live, because we believe all this is pointing to the end of the tribulation, when Jesus comes back again to rule and reign on earth. Oh, God, help us to share his good news today with those around us. You have a wonderful, wonderful day.